Well, it finally happened. After years of rumours, burnout, declining momentum, and endless community anxiety, Bungie officially announced the end of live service development for Destiny 2. No more expansions, no more long-term content roadmaps, no more future seasons. June 9th, 2026 is basically the end of Destiny 2 as an evolving game. And honestly, I think Bungie is now in the most dangerous position they've ever been in. I'm making this video as a follow-up to my How Bungie Destroyed Its Reputation video, as I felt like it needed a bit more of an in-depth continuation about how Bungie needs Destiny 3 to thrive and survive. Now, if Destiny 2 is over and Marathon isn't the massive success Bungie desperately needs, what exactly is left? Seriously, what is the plan here? Because from the outside looking in, Bungie just shut down the one franchise still carrying the studio without having a proper replacement ready, and unless Destiny 3 happens, I genuinely think Bungie could be heading toward a disaster. Whether you love Destiny or hate it, you cannot deny how huge this franchise became. For over a decade, Destiny dominated the live service conversation. Raids, lore videos, massive expansions, community events. Destiny wasn't just a game. For a lot of people, it became part of their lives. People met friends through Destiny, some met partners through Destiny, and entire communities formed around this franchise. And now Bungie is basically putting the game into maintenance mode after the final update. That's massive. This isn't some random multiplayer game shutting down. This was Bungie's identity, and the way this whole thing happened feels depressing. Now, to be fair, I understand why this happened. Destiny 2 was old, like really old. The game launched in 2017. That's nearly a decade of updates stacked on one foundation. And you could absolutely feel it. The system became bloated, new player experience became awful, the storytelling became almost impossible to follow unless you'd been playing for years. Then there was vaulting content, seasonal fatigue, endless grinding, repetitive progression systems. Eventually the game stopped feeling exciting, it started feeling exhausting, and I think Bungie realised they couldn't just keep stretching Destiny 2 forever. At some point the whole thing was collapsing under its own weight. But here's the problem. Ending Destiny 2 without immediately transitioning to Destiny 3 makes absolutely no fucking sense. This is the elephant in the room nobody can ignore anymore. Bungie clearly wanted Marathon to become the future, but the reaction to Marathon has been nowhere near strong enough to replace Destiny emotionally or financially. And that's not even me being a hater, that's just reality. Destiny had a unique identity, huge lore, a loyal player base, years of emotional investment. But Marathon, to most casual gamers, it just looks like another extraction shooter. And that's the problem, because Bungie ended one of the biggest live service franchises in gaming history for a genre that's already overcrowded. Extraction shooters are risky, player retention is brutal, competition is insane, and if Marathon underperforms long term, Bungie suddenly loses the one stable pillar holding the company together. And that's terrifying, because think about this from Sony's perspective. Sony bought Bungie for $3.6 billion, $3.6 billion. And now Destiny 2 is ending. Bungie reportedly has no fully greenlit replacement projects, and layoffs are reportedly looming again. That is not what Sony expected when they made this acquisition. Sony bought Bungie because they wanted live service expertise, but instead Sony inherited declining player engagement, community backlash, failed momentum, and a studio struggling to define its future. That's bad, really fucking bad. Especially after reports of major financial impairment losses connected to Bungie's underperformance. At some point, Sony is going to want answers, and honestly, Destiny 3 feels like the most obvious answer imaginable. This is why fans keep screaming for Destiny 3, not because they hate Destiny 2, because they want a fresh start. Imagine the hype cycle. New engine technology, modern graphics, a redesigned onboarding system, cleaner progression, fresh subclasses, massive world redesigns, a completely new beginning for the universe. People would lose their minds, because despite everything, people still love Destiny. That's the crazy part. The universe is still cool, the gunplay is still elite, the raids are still legendary, the potential never disappeared. Players are just exhausted by Destiny 2 specifically. That's why Destiny 3 matters psychologically. It tells players this is a new era, and Bungie desperately needs that energy right now. This is something I don't think Bungie fully understands. Community goodwill is finite. For years, Destiny fans defended the studio through content, vaulting, bad expansions, monetization drama, server disasters, repetitive seasons, delayed content, and layoffs. But eventually, even loyal communities burn out, and now that Destiny 2 is officially ending, a lot of players feel emotionally abandoned. You can already see it online. Fans are mourning the game. Petitions for Destiny 3 are exploding online. Players are organising farewell events because people genuinely care about this franchise, and honestly, the emotional attachment is exactly why Bungie would be insane to let Destiny disappear completely. This is another reason Bungie desperately needs Destiny 3. The live service market changed. A few years ago, every publisher wanted the next Forever game. Now players are exhausted. Games are shutting down constantly. Studios are collapsing. Live service launches keep failing. I'm looking at you, Concord. The entire industry over committed to this model, and ironically, Destiny is still one of the only live service franchises with real emotional legacy that matters, because while newer live service games struggle to build communities, Destiny already has one. Bungie already owns one of the few universes people genuinely care about long term. Throwing that away right now would honestly be unfucking believable. This is the nightmare scenario. Destiny 2 ends, Marathon struggles, Sony loses patience, and more layoffs happen. Then what? Seriously, like what does Bungie become at that point? Because right now Bungie feels dangerously dependent on Marathon succeeding, and that is an insanely risky position for a studio in 2026, especially with reports saying Destiny 3 is not actively in development right now. It's fucking crazy to me. I can't believe they would actually do that, because Destiny is still Bungie's strongest IP by far. And not Marathon, not some new incubator project. Destiny, that's the franchise with history, with community, with emotional investment. Ignoring that reality feels almost self-destructive. At this point, Destiny 3 doesn't feel like maybe, it feels inevitable, because Bungie needs a major comeback, a goodwill reset, and a technology reset, and a reason for players to care again. Destiny 3 solves all of those problems immediately. Even people who quit years ago would come back just to see what happened, because I know I fucking would come back, because Destiny 2 is just too cluttered now to go back into, and why would I? Obviously it's been shut down, but I want Destiny 3 as much as the next person. That's the power of sequels, especially sequels tied to beloved franchises, and honestly I think Sony eventually realizes this too, because from a business perspective, abandoning Destiny entirely would be insane. The end of Destiny 2 honestly feels surreal. For years people joked Destiny is dying, but now this really is the end of an era, and Bungie is standing at a crossroads. Either they reinvent Destiny properly, or they risk fading into irrelevance, chasing trends that were already losing momentum, because right now, Bungie without Destiny feels incomplete, and unless Marathon somehow becomes a cultural phenomenon overnight, which we all know it's not going to, let's be honest, I generally think Destiny 3 is the only realistic path forward for the studio. Not eventually, but now.